On this episode of MythBusters,
We're about to drop an elevator. I'm beside myself.
going down in the elevator of death.
92 feet.
If something goes wrong, somebody could get killed here.
Can a well-timed leap of faith save your skin? And the myth of homemade flight. Jamie and Adam take wing in a levitation machine build-off.
How did I know Adam was going to cheat?
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
and Jamie Heineman.
I kind of like it in here. It's private.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
Anything to say to the ducks back home?
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
Looks like we grabbed another one off the Discovery fan site this time.
Yeah, apparently a viewer saw an ad in the back of a magazine that advertised that you could build a levitation machine using 3 vacuum cleaner motors and it would lift 150 pounds.
A levitation machine.
A levitation machine.
The MythBusters have dug one up from the good old days when $1.50 bought you X-ray vision. Rubber vomit was 99 cents. And holy cow, a hovercraft cost just $5.50.
This story emerged from an ad from an old magazine. The idea is that anybody can create what is considered to be alternative technology in their own home, separate from big business and from government.
So in some dusty magazine, there are plans for a mythic self-propelling levitation machine made from ordinary household items like vacuums. Jamie and Adam never found those plans, but that won't stop them trying to build one.
Yeah, I think it's true. I know it's true. It's going to be something really fun to build. And I think Jamie and I can actually add something to the whole industry of vacuum cleaner levitation.
I'm reasonably certain that this myth is not true.
Jamie doesn't think it's true?
Pete Anderson is the vacuum man. He's been repairing these suckers for 30 years.
I fix 90% of the vacuums on the market, and you name it, I do it, you know. I can take them apart and put them back together in no time.
With such a wealth of knowledge, Pete wisely guards his secrets closely.
So, Pete, it sounds like you're rummaging around. Can we come back there?
No,
Please?
no.
Then we're coming in to get you.
Then I'll have the vacuums attack you.
Pete eventually weakens and agrees to reveal the secret of the vacuum cleaner pump. Adam is in heaven.
Then it shoots it into this one here,
Which pulls it in.
and then it directs this air right into this baby.
The magic of it all seems strangely lost on Jamie. Until...
Electricity! See if it works. Here we go. Got his tongue. Got his tongue.
I got bit.
He got his tongue.
Bleeding.
Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, that was the stupidest thing I've ever done.
I'm gonna have to stitch your mouth shut, I think, for this.
Nah, you wish.
And that was the end of Adam's television career.
No. Dude, this is a show. It's like 4 minutes of science and then 10 minutes of me hurting myself.
Pete has seen a lot, but he's never seen anyone bitten by a pump before. This is clearly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
This is not enough. Come back and get some more.
Pete sold them as many of his old junkers as they can carry. The MythBusters are now officially in the levitation business.
Do we suck or what?
Well, the myth says that you can levitate yourself with the motors from 3 vacuum cleaners. We've got about 20 here. So we'll see what we can get out of 3, and then we'll see where we can go from there.
And so begins the delicate job of extracting pumps.
I'm not destructive by nature.
If you watch the time lapse of what we just did, he was the first one to take one of his vacuum cleaners and smash it on the ground. I just enjoy it. Do you ever see Jamie enjoy anything?
Now the MythBusters have to turn destruction into construction.
Whoa, that's hardcore. Well, that'll never fly.
This is gonna fly inside of half an hour.
Adam's rigged 3 engines together. They'll glue a bag to the base to harness the blowing power, cutting holes so it doesn't burst like a balloon. It all seems too easy.
Oh, look at that.
Oh yeah. Let's try it. Yeah, baby! Whoa! Oh man, dude, that totally works.
It's a very un-MythBusters-like moment. They've built an invention and nothing has gone wrong. Ah, that's more like it.
You want to lie there for a minute, or you want to get up?
Adam is soon back on that horse, and it seems they're riding a winner.
Oh, I think you're gonna have to hold me tighter, Jamie. I think we busted it. Well, I think that worked really well, actually. I see no reason that you couldn't call a hovercraft a type of levitation device. Yeah, I think we've definitely done something good here.
If they wanted to quit while they were ahead, this would be a good time. But of course, that won't happen.
I have gleaned a lot of information from this test, but I think I ought to keep it to myself. I think maybe you ought to take what you think you've learned from this test, and I'll take what I think I've learned from this test, and let us build our own machines and see how we can do against each other.
I'd say that's a wonderful plan, Adam.
The challenge is set. Who can build the best self-propelling levitation machine out of parts found around the home? It's a battle of wits and egos. But before construction starts, they'll drop in on another myth. It's one of the great what-ifs of modern living. What if the elevator you're riding suddenly plummets down the shaft? Can you save yourself? The MythBusters are about to find out.
Well, we're here investigating the elevator of death. Now, the myth goes that you're in an elevator, the cables are cut or something, you're plummeting rapidly towards the bottom of the elevator shaft, and right at the very last second, you jump as hard as you can, and that saves your life.
Oh yeah, I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
The MythBusters need to drop an elevator down a shaft. Just before it hits bottom, the test subject will jump in the air. They'll measure his speed to see if he's avoided what seems certain death. First, a little expert instruction.
That's all your control wires. This is your traveling cable.
Lester Rappel has worked on elevators for 30 years, and he's not falling for this myth.
Well, if you're in an elevator, you're traveling at the same rate of speed, the same velocity as the elevator itself. So you're really not going to be able to overcome that physical fact.
What would you do if you were in a falling elevator?
I believe if I had presence of mind, I would probably try to lay myself down on the floor, assuming that I could get there, just to minimize the injury to my body.
Destruction seems assured. Jamie can't wait to scout a location. There's a fire training facility which sounds promising in Pleasanton, outside San Francisco.
This is quite a complex. They've got rooftops and whole buildings that they can burn down and put out. And of course, most importantly, this building has an elevator in it that drops 4 or 5 floors. I thought so. That's only 40 feet. Okay.
40 feet is an impressive drop. But for this myth, they're looking for something really special. Jamie's got a lead on a derelict hotel in nearby Oakland that's 8 stories high. He's checking it out with builder Carrie.
Is that
I guess that's it. It's an 8-story building. Thank you, sir.
The grand old Hotel Royal was built around 1910. She ain't so grand anymore and is scheduled for demolition.
Oh my God. Since we're here anyway, can we film a horror movie?
Yeah.
They found the elevator, but it's not going anywhere fast.
There's the motor. What's left of it. It's an elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels like steel. I don't know whether it'll stand up to a 8-story drop without crushing.
Getting the elevator working will be no small task. The cables haven't moved in years, and the motor is a wreck.
In theory, if we could tie power onto that, we would have a working elevator. The cables and everything are here. It's a little rusty, but if we can get it to work, it's going to be perfect. Barry, we're going to go on up to the top, I think.
Don't leave me alone. Oh my God.
It's a long, long way to the top of the shaft. 8 floors, 9 counting the basement.
92 feet to the top of the pulleys.
92 feet to the dead bird.
A 92-foot drop, 1,500 pounds of elevator car. It looks like they have their location, but have the MythBusters bitten off more than they can chew?
I don't know. It's kind of scary.
The Levitation Machine Challenge is a go. In the red corner, Team Savage, Adam, Tori, and Christine. In the blue, Heinemann's Heroes, Jamie, Scotty, and Carrie. Each has a budget of $500 and 2 days to build a flying, self-propelling levitation machine out of household items. Then they race for glory.
The secret plans are, we're gonna do 3 pads like this. We're gonna have a leaf blower back here. I got a whole bunch
So we're not using any of the vacuum motors? Okay.
No.
To improve stability, Adam's craft will have 3 connected bases, like lily pads. He'll mount the seat and engines on top.
Check it out.
And it will have a little more kick than your standard vacuum cleaner.
180 miles per hour, 360 cubic feet per minute.
Leaf blowers, 2 big, expensive ones. Adam's blown away his entire budget. And possibly Jamie, too. Adam's plan is for one blower to provide lift and the other propulsion.
The question is how to mount these puppies up so that 1, there's control, 2, there's some aerodynamics, 3, there's some stability. Like I want to be here.
Okay.
Christine's come up with a new, stronger skirt to capture the air.
Come on, machine, don't jam up on me.
I feel like I'm doing crafts in kindergarten.
In just 2 hours, Team Savage has the first pad ready to test.
All right.
You ready?
I think that's magnificent. I think the distance is perfect, the buoyancy is great, and it's pretty darn stable for just 1 person in the center. 3 of these is going to be great. The thing is that this powers 1 beautifully, but it's got to power 3.
Adam has to split the airflow from 1 leaf blower to inflate all 3 pads. He'll divide the blast with pipe.
How do you like that? That'll do.
But is there enough lift? Adam's design might be stable, but it's also heavy. There's a steel frame holding the pads together and a seat.
Up and right there. Okay, close your eyes. Right
Wait. If you weld this, you're committed to this height of the chair.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be a smart idea to put a pipe the same diameter as this?
Maybe.
And then we
you know
can
what? I can
adjust
just cut
it.
the weld. I can grind the weld. I can grind the weld. Place it up there.
This is what I have to deal with.
This is what it's like to work with me. We're going to get it done.
good.
Not that good.
The seat is not adjustable, and it's a little too low.
See, look at all that extra room. All right, let's tilt it on its back. Oh man, it's really heavy.
But could it be too much weight to levitate? The big race will be held on the beach. Before lifting a tool, Jamie's scouting the location. And he's inspired.
Have you ever heard of a thing called a hoverboard?
Jamie, the non-surfer, explains to Rob, the non-geek, what he has in mind.
So we're looking for a large board that we can mount some leaf blowers on the back for forward thrust and one on the top in the front to fill the airbag that lifts the thing.
And we also want it to look cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's clear Surfer Rob doesn't share Jamie's definition of cool, but a sail's a sail, dude.
How about this one?
Well, that's kind of hot looking.
It's 22 inches wide, 7'10".
I like it.
It's a bittersweet moment. Old Yella here will never see a way. But Jamie couldn't be happier.
Thank you. We've destroyed a lot of really nice things on this show. You know, Corvettes, home appliances, power tools, and now we're about to destroy a surfboard.
Jamie is planning the Heinemann Hoverboard, a surfboard, blowers at the back for thrust, more at the front for lift, and the inflatable skirt. In his search for thrust, like Adam, Jamie has settled on leaf blowers. After the surfboard, he can only afford cheaper models and needs to check their propulsion power.
It's exciting.
Well, that ought to work. So let's fuel it up.
This is easier than I thought.
This kind of looks like Wile E. Coyote or something, doesn't it?
This is officially the silliest rig in myth-busting history. It's taught them immediately that combining inline skates and a backpack makes Jamie giggle like a schoolgirl. The second lesson, this simple rig actually works. It's not fast, and it's not pretty, but it might just be impressive enough to scare Team Savage.
Well, you know, I'm glad he's not wasting his time or anything. I've got a nearly completed hovercraft in there. Jamie's like cruising with the girls. Look, just cruising with women. That's all he's doing. I don't have a damn thing to worry about.
His silly little backpack thing, he's like the hunchback of M5.
Jamie's team's already lost. They just haven't been informed yet.
To Adam's mind, propulsion will be a breeze.
Basically, I would be holding on to this thing, pointing it behind me. When I need to turn, I just turn it this way. I turn it that way. It's really simple.
Of course, the lily pad flyer is still heavy and still earthbound. It's time to rise and shine if they can.
It's totally stable.
They have liftoff.
It was actually very successful. I'm very pleased with it. Weight does not seem to be an issue with the leaf blower. It's got plenty of power to lift the weight we want it to lift.
The hard part seems over for Team Savage. They're levitating like David Copperfield, and now just need to conjure up a little backdraft to get things moving. In Adam's mind, right now, he should be blowing along like the first leaves of fall. Team Savage has a problem. Fresh from their successful propulsion test, Heinemann's heroes are working on lift.
I'm about to be disowned by every surfer I know.
Old Yella is going under the knife. This hole is for the downdraft that will inflate their skirt.
Jamie, are you feeling confident?
Not at all.
It works. They have liftoff. But they also have a problem.
It's like practically impossible to keep it stable.
It's less hoverboard than wobbleboard.
You're gonna have to have a wider base. That's all I can say, because it's like trying to balance a board on a pole.
Jamie has a hunch he can steady the ship by adding an outrigger.
So this is a nifty invention.
This is actually going to work. And what I've done is I've put some additional support on the top of the bladder where it comes out from the side of the surfboard. And that'll keep it more stable because it can't roll around the edge of the surfboard now. It's got to be compressed. Still is a little bit tippy, but I think when we get a little practice, I should be able to kind of get nice and stabilized, and I think we're good to go.
The last component, thrusters, ×3.
You know, I kept saying that you were going to come up with something, but in the back of my head, I was going, eh.
Surf's up for Heineman's heroes. At the end of the first work day of the challenge, they have a flying, self-propelling levitation machine.
I don't know what the top speed on it is, but it was starting to take off there. And if we get the control set up on this, I think it's going to work like a dream.
In July 1945, a terrible tragedy at the Empire State Building gave rise to a miraculous survival story.
And an elevator plunged down 80 floors, cables and debris tumbling over it.
It was a drop of 1,000 feet, and inside, a young elevator operator. She was found alive in the basement by a heroic Coast Guardsman.
The girl inside was badly crushed and burned. I got her out, gave her morphine, and treated her wounds as best I knew how.
But how did she survive that crash? Did she jump up? It's something for the MythBusters to ponder back at the Hotel Royal.
Found a bowling ball in the abandoned building. I've always wanted to drop one of these on a tile floor. Man, I thought it was gonna shatter and break and do all sorts of dramatic things. Myth busted.
Now that wasn't much fun.
We've got the location, we've got our elevator shaft. I'm gonna go out and get all the rigging equipment that I need so that we can pull it to the top and drop it. You've got the hard job of getting Buster to jump at the last second.
This experiment has two engineering challenges. First, to figure out a way to raise and drop the elevator. Second, to rig the victim to jump up at just the right moment. Jamie, Carrie, and Scotty are dissecting the human jump.
All right.
In the short moment of acceleration, the average top speed generated was just over 8 feet per second. Now, they need the victim to replicate that. And here's the victim now.
I need to figure out how to make Buster jump. I think I'm going to have to use some kind of spring because I don't want to go for the gunpowder.
No gunpowder, good news for Buster. Instead, a kind of turbocharged pogo stick, a car spring inside overlapping tubes with a quick release catch. They'll rig Buster to sit on top. Scotty's specialty is working with metal. So in no time, she's created Buster's launcher.
Giant industrial a pogo stick. Nice.
The spring is tensioned, and the quick release set.
There you go.
There, okay.
Then Buster is lowered into place.
Now that looks like a good jump to me. I'm not sure, but I think we have a pretty good shot at actually launching Buster up in the air pretty good. It's a powerful spring.
It's time for Buster to fly.
Okay, here we go. Well, that wasn't very much at all. Okay.
Attempt 1 was more a jiggle than a jump.
What can I say? Gotta keep tweaking.
Adam, meanwhile, is looking for rigging, asking all kinds of questions salesmen don't hear too often.
I need to cut these cables and attach basically this quick release between the cables and my elevator so I can then drop the elevator. What would you recommend?
A career change, perhaps. But failing that, rigging salesman George Wong settles for cables and ties and double-strength doohickeys.
Okay. Are you gonna blow me up next? No, we're dropping an elevator today. Are you really? Yeah.
The whole experiment and the MythBusters' safety will literally hang from this quick-release shackle. Everything has to be right.
That'll do it. That's perfect.
To reduce the pogo stick's weight, Scotty's cutting out as much of the heavy metal cylinder as possible. She's adding a second spring for extra power. And smearing the whole assembly with lard to cut friction.
Tastes like French fries.
It's like about a half pound of lard on there.
Well, when you have a giant box of lard, it's just so darn tempting.
Are we ready?
Face plant!
About 20 centimeters.
It's better, but still not near enough to a human jump.
About, I would say about here, which is low.
Well, one thing that I can see is that we want to get our gravity kind of directly above the spring a little bit.
Balance is one thing, but the real problem is power. Buster needs more spring in his step. If that spring is going to turn up anywhere, it'll be here, somewhere.
That looks like that would definitely fit in there. I probably have a pair of vice grips if you need them.
There we go. Drop. Got it.
Well, that looks like pretty perfect to me.
You like it?
I love it.
Did I do something good today?
You did great. Thank you. Good catch. Oh, yeah. Just fits. Yeah.
Buster may at last be ready for his great leap forward.
All right. Well, that was a good jump.
Spirits are soaring. Buster reached a maximum velocity of nearly 12.5 feet per second, compared to Jamie's 8 feet per second.
I think that's a good run. I think we're there. That was significantly more than what we got before. He looked like he jumped.
They've solved half the elevator of death problem. Getting the Hotel Royals elevator working again lies ahead.
Bye-bye. See you later.
But first, there's a little matter of a levitation machine build-off.
You can come on in and shoot, but
Wait,
you three
really
have to go away.
We would change our plans after seeing yours?
Just want you to go away. She talks so much trash.
Team Savage needs to keep the lily pad flyer under wraps. It's showing all the mobility of a 2x4.
Today's task is to work on the propulsion of the hovercraft. You're going to start working on the pads, and I'm going to start working on the fan blades.
After laughing at Jamie's propulsion fixation, Adam needs to get his craft moving, and fast.
That's it. That's all that's moving the air.
His leaf blower needs more bite. Something like this. The fan will sit inside a metal shroud. Its blast directed by rudders at the back.
That's not dangerous. Oh my God.
It's fair to say this is not strictly design intent for a leaf blower. Adam's created a monster. Or is it just a monster problem?
Oh. No, no. That sounds bad. It's just too much torque for this motor. Please don't be too much torque for this motor.
It's too much torque. The tiny motor can't turn that big fan.
I'm scrapping this leaf blower motor. I'm going to stop trying to repair it and go for something like a chainsaw motor or a low-grade secondhand lawnmower motor.
A stickler might point out Adam's already spent his $500.
Granted, I might have spent over $500 trying to get this to work, but in the end, the full parts list for our hovercraft will still be under $500.
How did I know Adam was going to cheat?
News of Adam's indiscretion has reached Heineman's Heroes.
I think we can count on the fact that Adam's handicapped is probably Adam. And just because he gets the lawnmower doesn't mean he's actually going to make it work. We've got to design
If Jamie's mad, he's not telling.
You have the wrong show if you want to see backbiting and sniping. On MythBusters, we actually cooperate and enjoy working with each other.
For Heineman's Heroes, it would be all too easy to abandon the high road and stoop to cheating themselves. So that's exactly what they do. Quicker than you can say dastardly scoundrel, they've bought and fitted another blower to help with lift.
Now, if this works the way I plan, the extra lift that we're getting from the extra leaf blower will actually also make the thrust from the 3 leaf blowers more effective.
The new improved Heineman Hoverboard is a hit and ready to race.
That's it.
That was the difference. Let's go home.
Yeah. Adam will be here all night anyway.
For his replacement motor, Adam has settled on a 1-horsepower leaf trimmer.
Dude, this is just going to plug right into the fan. I don't have to modify anything.
Again, Adam's pushing the motor's limits.
Guys ready?
A typhoon, this ain't.
The new weed whacker is actually working fine. It's whacking away. It's my propeller that is lacking some balance.
Adam's looking a little unbalanced too. His grand plan is running out of puff, and so is his team.
You got something to say? I'm thinking about it.
It's just been like one disaster after the next.
It's the beautiful thing. We put so much time and love into it, and it's not working. And I'm brokenhearted, and so is everybody else, and Adam's pouting.
There's nothing for it. They have to mount the engine and hope for the best.
You ready?
The lily pad flyer is going nowhere in a hurry, and Adam's in the fast lane to Palookaville.
I'm out of ideas. I just ran out, just a second. Oh, when a pat comes from the cameraman, you know it's really, really bad.
But then, out of desperation, a plan.
Pizza box wings. This is great. Really high. Okay.
We're at the Icarus part of the evening, and I think you know what happened to Icarus. You know, I think we might have something. I can only pray for one thing, and that is a total failure of Jamie's rig. Confident to the last. Let's go home.
2 words. Nasty. Ugh.
It's nasty enough inside the Hotel Royal for the MythBusters to cover up with dust masks. There's the cleanup to be done, and Jamie's got to get the elevator working again.
Oh, it's going up. It went up.
Did the car go up?
Yep.
Well, that's a good sign. It is awfully stiff, but it is moving. So where there's movement, there can be improved movement. And I had an idea that I might be able to modify an electric vehicle that I built. It's a prototype that I have back at the shop.
Product gets to the consumer faster. It's the same electrical vehicle Jamie used in the 7-Up commercial, but extensively modified. He calls it the Life and Death Machine, or LAD for short.
I built a multi-purpose platform that has the electric motors, the gear reduction for them, speed controllers and electronics and batteries all compacted into as tight of a unit as I could come up with, and then we put these treads on it.
Jamie sees the LAD as having applications in firefighting and law enforcement. But today, it's got to lift an elevator. A little MythBuster love tap will ease the fit.
Okay, ready? Hey, that's it. All right. I don't think this thing is going anywhere. You want to turn it on? Let's see if we can move this car.
All right.
Remember, the elevator hasn't moved in years.
That's moving up, okay.
Jamie, that looks great.
Yeah, baby!
Going up, 2nd floor, dust and echoes.
Couldn't be happier.
Do you have batteries for these? I think Jamie's rig is a classic MythBusters rig. You know, we have to lift an elevator, and Jamie says, well, I've got a robot in the shop that we could modify to lift this elevator.
Bring it up about 6 more inches. Hokey pokey, top floor, man, over.
Top floor, broken fittings, pigeon poop, and all kinds of danger. Before starting work, Adam secures the car at the top of the shaft.
We can't rush it. We don't want to be, doing anything without being in total and absolute control of what's going on. It's nasty. If something goes wrong, somebody could get killed here.
Elevators are designed not to fall. Fortunately, the MythBusters wrote the book on disabling safety systems. First up, the emergency brake.
When the balls spin around too fast, if the elevator's falling, they lift up and drive out the 2 brakes.
So what you're trying to say is that you take the balls off, it don't work no more, right?
You got it. Let's see. Anticlimactically enough, I believe I've disabled the entire mechanism by removing this simple pin.
Well, okay.
They're not in free fall mode yet. As well as being cabled to a winch, elevator cars are also linked to a counterweight, which weighs about the same as the car when half full. That keeps the system in balance and the car won't fall. That counterweight just has to go.
We are cutting the cables. Stand by.
It's so much heavier than it looks.
Just the last lonely winch cables left. And with the car lowered back to the basement for safety, Adam is about to sabotage those too.
This is a 10,000-pound movie special effects quick release. Going to attach it to this really big shackle. And when we get upstairs, we'll be able to pull a pin and this whole car will drop. You know, working with these dirty cables, I can't tell you how hard it is not to touch Jamie's white shirt.
I just want to touch it, make it dirty.
You're ready to take tension on this, Jamie.
Okay.
The quick release is attached and holding.
Beautiful.
The star of the show has been roused from his luxury trailer. This promises to be the sorriest chapter in Buster's tragically accident-prone life. He'll ride that car down 9 floors, sitting on a pogo stick.
Okay, Buster, this won't hurt a bit.
Adam's tying off a trip line at the top of the shaft. That will pull the release on the launcher when the elevator's 6 feet from the bottom.
Looks about perfect to me. Okay, the rig is stationary. It's ready for...
The MythBusters are ready. They've built a giant pogo stick and made a death trap out of a previously safe elevator. As Buster rises towards the penthouse, he surely knows the outhouse will follow. But could he somehow survive?
We're about to drop an elevator. I'm beside myself.
It's all going to be over in a few seconds. And with a big boom, what else could we ask for?
I think Buster's toast. But then that's his job.
You will die in the elevator. You will die.
It is not a good omen, but it's time for the great elevator drop. Can Buster survive a 90-foot fall if he jumps at the last second? Jamie and the team are in the basement. Adam's up top, quick release in hand.
I'm terrified. I'm totally excited. All right, here we go. Ready to drop in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh my God! That blew my face back.
Man, that was intense.
That was such a rush. It was just like this enormous blast of air.
Oh no.
The overhead camera shows Buster's pogo stick launched right on cue. But did it save him?
Talk about a gust of air. Yeah.
His head's gone.
We've got an arm. I believe this is more damage than we've ever done to Buster in one myth before.
Hey, Adam.
I think Buster feels good about a job well done, and he just hopes that we don't put his head on backwards.
By the bottom of the shaft, the elevator and Buster were falling at 53 miles an hour. Buster jumped up at 3 feet per second, or 2 miles an hour. Enough to hit the roof, but he still hit the ground at a fatal 51 miles an hour.
I don't know if we can put him back together.
Yeah, Scotty can do it.
We can rebuild him. We have the technology.
Buster will be repaired, but if he was smashed to pieces, how did that elevator operator survive her plunge in the Empire State Building from 10 times the height? Turns out the car was a tight fit inside the shaft, so trapped a cushion of air beneath it. And the cable hanging below coiled into a kind of spring as it fell. Those 2 factors slowed the car enough to save her life. Alas, fate was not so kind to Buster.
Well, you know, you might be weightless relative to the elevator, but you and the elevator are going down at 53 miles an hour. So unless you can jump up at 53 miles per hour, you're dead.
I think we've done all that we can here. I think this myth is definitively and finally busted.
Yeah, it was fun, though.
Ocean Beach, San Francisco, a field of dreams.
Good day for kicking.
For hovercraft builders, it promises triumph. Or the sand of defeat kicked in their face. But Adam has a secret weapon waiting in the wings. And he can certainly hold his own in the pre-match psych-out.
It certainly is pretty, isn't it?
I like the flame decoration on the, what is that, the garbage can, or is that the cowl?
Sorry, that would be the ducted fan cowling. Well, Jamie's rig is magnificent in its simplicity. I mean, there is not a wasted piece of wood or anything in this thing.
He's got 2 motors, and I've got 5. I'm not sure what that means, but I think it means that I'm going to go faster.
The course is 200 yards out and back across sand and water. A grueling test. But by mutual agreement, there's a last-minute concession. Team members can push, but Scotty is homesick. And there's Adam's secret weapon. This race is suddenly wide open. The Heinemann hoverboard leads out. But Team Savage has pulled a switcheroo heading into the water hazard. It floats like it flies.
I gotta lose this.
Jamie's first out of the water, but his lift engines have stalled. Fair play be damned. Adam's calling in reinforcements. The turn. Heinemann's heroes are closing in.
Woo! We're almost there. We're almost there. We're doing great.
Pushing Adam's heavy craft is taking its toll. A jockey change, and fresh legs could be the difference. After doing everything in his power to fail, Adam has somehow won.
Way to come in at the last minute there. Nice. That was possibly the stupidest contest ever in the world.
The thing just filled full of sand. You know, we tested it on a shop floor, smooth concrete, worked great. I'm fairly confident we would have easily won the race, but it's a big scoop.
It may be academic, but Jamie calls a rematch just to see who would have won without assistance. On dry land, it's no contest. This time, it's all Jamie. The Heinemann hoverboard leaves the lily pad flyer in its wake, and a little pride is restored.
Well, they both suck.
But what of the myth? Can you really build a levitation machine out of household items?
Well, Jamie, you know, if you ordered these plans out of a catalog to build a levitation machine out of 3 vacuum cleaner motors, we showed that you could do it, and I actually got about 6 inches of levitation.
Yeah, but in my mind, it's not really levitation. This is a hovercraft.
Well, I'd say, for the record, this myth is plausible, but totally impractical.
Yeah, plausible, but impractical.
On this episode of MythBusters, the Widowmaker. Could you build a jetpack from plans on the internet?
I'm ready to go, man!
Adam and Jamie rise to the challenge of their toughest ever myth.
I want liftoff this time!
And the build team suffers for science in the myth of pyramid power.
Baby, give us a kiss.
Who are the MythBusters?
Am I missing an eyebrow?
Adam Savage
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
And Jamie Heineman.
Quack, damn you.
I wouldn't say Jamie's an evil genius.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
We're either going to die or we're going to fly.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
Adam, we've got a really great story here. This is just the kind of thing that I love. This is a really difficult technical challenge. It's an engineering feat we've got to pull off here.
Absolutely. We have purchased some plans off the web that anybody could buy for under $100, and we're going to see if we can use those plans to build in our shop a personal, functional jetpack.
And of course, we only have, what, about $10,000 in a month?
Well, it wouldn't be MythBusters without that kind of crunch, would it?
The quest to build a personal flying machine is as old as aviation itself.
It's my strong conviction that by utilizing these inner universal forces, we shall all be able to fly like the birds.
The MythBusters are well qualified to join a procession of daredevil inventors hell-bent on avoiding traffic jams.
Step forward, lift your feet. Good.
The track record isn't exactly encouraging. So is the idea of a homemade jetpack just a dream?
So what are we going to build here exactly? What do the plans say our jetpack looks like?
Well, I don't see any jet engines anywhere on this thing. What I see is a gas engine goes in the middle of your back and a couple of propellers inside some ducts.
So it's more of a vertical takeoff helicopter ducted fan housing kind of thing.
Yeah, it's smaller than a helicopter. It's something you could carry around, but that's the gist of it.
But it ain't no jet.
No jet.
It's actually a backpack powered by a 60 horsepower engine which drives 2 ducted fans. The cowlings create lift and thrust, and according to the designers, should be able to carry a 200-pound pilot. The plans are less than comprehensive, so it's a case of join the dots and fill in the gaps.
That's a funky thing about these plans. You do whatever the hell you want, and you're going to be flying around like crazy. It's great. You'll go 50 miles an hour.
With limited time and budget, Adam and Jamie will need all the help they can get. So the MythBusters support team swings into gear.
I have a question about the Rotax 503 engine.
Jamie talks to aviation experts about the components spec'd in the plans.
Do you know of anybody that has followed these plans then that has actually flown? Oh yeah, it'd be extremely dangerous.
Then he crunches some numbers and comes up with a verdict.
Well, I'm actually encouraged that based on the considerable poking around that I've done with all of the major components, it is theoretically possible that this could work.
Can you see Jamie like this?
To their knowledge, nobody has ever flown a jetpack like this one. So Adam and Jamie hit the road to find out about some that have got airborne. They're meeting Nino Amarino, an expert in rocket packs.
Wow. Is this a jetpack?
No, this actually, it's a rocket pack. This actually uses rocket fuel and rocket engines. The actual engine is on top, and these are the nozzles, one on each side.
Well, it seems like a pretty simple unit as far as that goes. I mean, I'm sure there's more than meets the eye here, but what's the biggest difficulty about actually making this practical?
Well, it looks simple at first sight, although there have been over 100 people that have tried, and all of them have failed.
The first attempts to build modern rocket packs began in the 1950s and met with about as much success as the efforts earlier in the century. But the possibility of airborne infantry was enough to attract military dollars. The breakthrough came in 1961 with a device designed by Wendell Moore of Bell Aerosystems. As the operating envelope was extended, the rocket pack reached altitudes of 60 feet and speeds of up to 60 miles per hour. But it was too noisy, so the military pulled the plug on the project.
Everybody seems to be working at some feverish pitch to develop a personal flying device, that everyone could be flying. This is some sort of utopian dream. Why do you think that is?
Well, actually, the main reason why it is something that everybody wants to build is because of all the flying devices that man has built, this is the only one that the regular Joe on the streets has not been able to duplicate yet.
Well, I tell you, I can understand why this is such a seductive idea to people because, you know, it's like, okay, I'm ready to go to work, honey. I'll see you later, you know. You know.
When Jamie grows up, he wants to be a rocket man.
I've never seen Jamie so happy in my life.
Fired up by the rocket pack, Adam and Jamie hit the scrap yards to search out raw materials for their own flying machine.
Look at these. Oh my God, this is great. This is the average American's 6-month supply of soda pop.
The towers of twisted metal loosen some of Adam's screws.
Right, well, I mean, this piece behind me, I call it the APHIS 2. And I mean, it's really about how confusing, you know, society is because, you know, it's all a jumble, isn't it?
In the world of scrap, Adam and Jamie are pin-ups. And they're mobbed by fellow enthusiasts.
So what are we building? We're building a jetpack, personal jetpack. Right. Oh, we're either going to die or we're going to fly.
Well, let's hope you fly. Yeah.
They're looking for aluminum. The plan's recommended as light, tough, and perfect for aircraft.
Just machine a whole wing out of that.
It's funny what gets us excited, isn't it? I don't think I've ever seen a solid chunk of aluminum that big.
It's the second biggest piece of aluminum I've ever seen.
It just like gets me all worked up just looking at it.
After the obligatory drooling, the guys get down to the job at hand and come away happy shoppers.
You can't take Jamie and I to a place like this and have us just leave with what we came for. This big plate of 16th-inch aluminum is going to be most of the structure on the backpack. This angle iron's going to be some of the cross structure along with the arms for actually steering and controlling. It's all really fantastically useful stuff, and I love working with aluminum. I'm delirious from the sun. I love aluminum. Aluminum, I love you.
Myth number 2 comes from ancient Egypt and involves a magical mathematical formula. According to some, the pyramids incorporate a sacred geometry which helped to preserve the mummified remains of the pharaohs. Furthermore, they claim that this mystical math can work modern miracles, like keep fruit fresh or razor blades sharp. Apparently, they can even reinvigorate an overworked MythBuster.
You know, normally we try and stay away from some of the oogie boogie myths, but it's time to go attack pyramid power. It is reputed to do everything from keep your razors sharp to keeping your milk and fruit fresh. And I think you two are the perfect people to take this test and see what we can do with it.
Well, as a true scientist, you do have to walk in with an open mind, without any preconceived notions, and put it to a very rigorous testing.
You guys are going to have to build a whole bunch of pyramids in a very short period of time. All right, I'm going to go back to sleep.
Nighty-night.
So, can the build team crack this cosmic code?
Where is that formula?
First, they must erect their own pyramids by following the instructions of New Age mythmongers.
That doesn't make sense.
It's all as clear as mud, so they decide to seek enlightenment from someone who walks the walk, true believer Jerry Tomlinson.
Okay, Jerry, so you're our self-proclaimed pyramid freak. We got lots of questions.
Okay. So you're totally convinced that there is power with these pyramids?
Oh, yeah. A guy in Czechoslovakia patented the Cheops razor blade sharpener. And he put razor blades under it, and they would dull razor blades, and they would be sharper, you know. And I tried it once. I was there for about a week and put it in it. Seemed to be sharper.
Not that convincing, eh, Tori?
Do you think that the materials that the pyramid are made from have any effect on the experiment?
Well, copper is a real cool metal, but it's supposed to work. Yeah, maybe.
So I've
But oh no, excuse me, no. I've been told that that's not true. because you can do it just the shape maybe what you use has some effect, but I think it's primarily it's the shape.
The build team leaves Jerry a little older, but none the wiser.
Look, you guys, we just got our mail order pyramid.
Ooh. Is this the one that's supposed to sharpen razor blades?
This is the one.
Wait a minute.
I think we've been had.
How much did we pay for this?
$38. I think we're the suckers.
Back at the shop, there's been a delivery. But if it does keep fruit fresh and razors sharp, $38 is money well spent. While apparently the material doesn't affect the pyramid's power, the dimensions do. For maximum potency, the model must be an exact scale of Egypt's golden pyramid. And this one, well, looks a little wonky.
I mean, here's our pyramid. Do you feel any power? Come here.
Don't point it at me. Don't aim it at me.
Come here. Let's put it over your head. Do you feel lightheaded?
I'm reading your thoughts right now.
And Tori's thinking that pyramid power could be a long way off. Personal jetpacks are everybody's dream. But is it utopia? Or could Joe Soap really build one in his garage? The MythBusters are going to find out. They're on the trail of an ultralight engine at California Power Systems.
What can I do for you guys?
Looking for a Rotex 503 dual carb. I understand you have one in stock.
Yep.
Could we have a look at it?
Sure, I can bring one out here.
This is the one spec'd in the plans, but Mike suggests a lighter and more powerful alternative, the water-cooled Rotex 583.
I can't see how this possibly couldn't push you off the ground. It has that much power.
Wow.
That's what we want.
That's what we want to hear.
It's not the exact engine specified in the plans, but it's close enough.
Any reasonable person with the dough would go for the Rotex 583. I mean, it's a lot more power for just about the same weight, actually a little bit less, and every pound counts here. In the trunk of this car is our chance for immortality.
That thing has about as much horsepower as this van does, and it's not going to be like strapping an automobile engine on your back.
Let's get back to the shop.
Let's make this sucker.
Back at M5, the build begins. And right from the get-go, Jamie's fired up.
This is exactly the kind of project that really motivates me personally. So I'm going to be losing some sleep over this one. Starting to look like an aircraft part.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
While Jamie works on the main structure of the backpack, Adam starts on the cowlings. Without them, the thrust generated by the propellers is dispersed. When the cowlings are added, the thrust is concentrated. They also create suction around their top edge, causing lift, like an airplane's wing. But the ducts only work if the clearance between propeller tips and cowling is less than 1/16 of an inch. According to the plans, the ducted fans should provide 500 pounds of thrust, more than enough to get Jamie airborne. Adam carefully cuts thin layers of roofing foam, which stack together igloo fashion to form the basic body of the cowling.
This appeals to both Jamie and I in a very sort of deep core level of interest for us. It is exactly the kind of thing that, once we did the research, we found out that no one's actually really flown one of these things that we can find. It would be amazing if we actually were able to build one to fly.
The cowling design seems solid enough, but Jamie's finding that the plans for the main body of the backpack have as many holes as the average tea bag.
There's stuff, the basic thing that's going on here is maybe not that wacky, but when I get into the details, it's like idiotic.
They call for the 90-pound engine to be bolted straight onto a wafer-thin aluminum sheet.
And this thing's just socked right in the middle of this 16th-inch sheet.
Yeah.
And the engine's on there.
A 62 horsepower engine.
Mounted on 16-inch aluminum. I'm not going to get near it with it operating.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way in hell I'm going to get in this thing. I mean,
it's terrifying.
The guys have got mixed feelings about the plans, which are a cocktail of the good, the bad, and the downright ugly.
It's like frustrating and almost disgusting how poor these plans are, and yet the stuff that he's kind of coming up with isn't all that bad.
While at first glance they seem easily like the work of a crazy person. It all seems, I mean, sort of crazily plausible that it could fly, but again, the devil is in the details.
In the interests of safety, Jamie adds a plate to strengthen the engine mounts. Then he blocks out the basic structure of the backpack.
Well, it looks like it ought to make sense.
The propellers arrive, specially made by a hovercraft manufacturer.
Hard to imagine these two picking you up off the ground, huh? It's gonna be like, I think that's about what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, well, onward and upward.
Despite their misgivings, it's not necessarily a case of pigs might fly.
Based on the initial number crunching that I've done, this thing could actually fly. And, you know, the fact that we haven't actually seen anybody flying with it is sort of like, what's going on here? Are we gonna like be the first ones?
The build team is testing the myth that pyramids have strange powers of preservation. They'll build 4 scale models in which they'll place some milk, half an apple, half a razor, and half a flower. The other halves, the controls, will sit outside the pyramids. According to the myth, their models must have pyramid-perfect dimensions to ensure any cosmic power is cranked up to the max.
Hey, Tori, it is going to be a golden pyramid.
And apparently, for the sharpest razors and freshest fruit, the pyramids must align with magnetic north. The build team really is doing all they can to test this loopy legend.
Should we cut these flowers off, put one in and one out?
Actually, we're going to take one of the flowers and we're going to slice it in half.
Carrie slices a rose with a razor, while Tori goes overboard on an apple with a chop saw. It's a clean cut, perfect, with a dirty blade, hardly a laboratory dissection. Carrie also sets up the milk for the preservation test, before moving on to something sharper.
I am dulling this razor so I can stick it into the pyramid and sharpen it.
The team places 1/2 of each item inside the pyramids, 1/3 of the way up. That's the location of the king's burial chamber in the real thing, and supposedly the locus of maximum power. Now, let the rotting commence. But first, another slightly more involved experiment.
Well, we're going to get Tori all shaved up with a razor designated for each side of his face. And then we're going to stick one of these inside the pyramid to see if possibly it gets sharper or gives him a cleaner shave on a daily basis.
So, for the next 2 weeks, Tori's going to be shaving for science.
All right, so I've shaven about the same on each side. They're about the same dullness, so we're gonna stick this one in the pyramid, this one outside of the pyramid, see if this one gets any sharper.
Like everything else, they're aligned to magnetic north and boosted in height. Now, the waiting begins.
For the sake of science,
yes.
Keep an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis
It's 1 week into the Jetpack assembly.
Can you crash?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Let's crash into that cliff.
No, we're gonna go for the balloon.
Adam and Jamie are paying a visit to the Hiller Aviation Museum to learn more about personal flying machines. And who better to guide them around than a man named after a compass?
My name is North, East, West, N-O-R-T-H, E-A-S-T, W-E-S-T, and I'm director at the gallery at the Hiller Aviation Museum.
So, like, what happened to South? This is the granddaddy of jetpacks, the Hiller platform, named after its inventor, Stanley Hiller, and funded by the Office of Naval Research.
Is this one of the earliest ducted fan designs?
This is the earliest ducted fan. This is the first ducted fan that ever lifted a man.
Really?
Yes.
The Hiller platform was more magic carpet than jetpack, with the pilot standing above a single large ducted fan. The inaugural flight took place in strict secrecy in January 1955. But when the military went public later that year, the whole world wanted one.
I'd love one of these at home.
Well, the development cost on this back in the early 50s was still about $500,000, so it's another reason we'll all have one sitting at home. But I think safety more than anything.
And we're going to build one for a couple grand.
Even though the platform flew, the military saw it as unsafe and abandoned the project. Only 7 vehicles were ever built, but the principle of ducted fan-powered flight was off the ground. This SoloTrek device, developed in the 1990s, looks almost familiar.
Jamie, we don't need to build one of these. We already found one.
Like their work in progress, the SoloTrek is powered by a pair of ducted fans driven by a gas engine.
It's amazing to see it here because, I mean, you can just see the hand-built aspect of it. You know, once you start to really see the parts up close, it's really apparent that humans built it. I love that aspect.
This prototype never flew, but with military backing, its offspring were more successful. A Hollywood version of the SoloTrek device flew into action in the movie Agent Cody Banks, but it only soared with the help of special effects. In reality, this sort of performance is a long way off. This is the real thing on its maiden flight in November 2003. It took 7 years and $10 million just to get this far. So where does that leave the home builder?
North, have you heard the myth or idea that you could actually buy plans, really simple plans actually, for something quite like the SoloTrek here and build it yourself?
I have a whole drawer full of them.
Really?
Yes.
Well, do you know of anybody that's actually followed through and built the things?
Not with a vehicle like this. I've never seen anything like this type of lifting vehicle except for the SoloTrek.
Adam and Jamie leave the museum with mixed emotions. They've learned that ducted fan devices can fly, but only just.
Bags.
The project hangs in the balance. The MythBusters have just 3 weeks left to build a jetpack from plans purchased off the internet. But the more time passes, the less confident they are about getting airborne.
I'd say 15% chance of someone levitating in any way, which is actually pretty high. But again, the math is all there, it's all in the details. You know what, I'm gonna lower that. I'd say a 5% chance that someone flies. 80% chance that this thing makes a hell of a racket, and 15% chance that there's some horrible, horrible disaster with it.
Meanwhile, Christmas has come early for Jamie.
Well, this is a great little engine, but we had a fan offer us another engine that's a little lighter, and yet it has the same power. I'm all about having a lighter engine, and so we're going to return this.
Jamie's also decided that he needs to make a major change to the plans.
Having been to the Hiller Aviation Museum, there's one consistent theme that keeps coming up, and that is that these devices have stability problems. And short of doing something really complicated and expensive, an idea that I had was to move the engine down low.
By lowering the engine and elongating the backpack, Jamie hopes to gain extra stability, if he can get airborne. He can't afford a gyro stabilizer, but focusing the weight lower down is the next best thing. Despite the new engine, the new design means a heavier machine, but Jamie doesn't seem concerned.
It's gonna be fun.
Day 10, and Adam checks his cowlings, which he's left to set overnight.
There we go. One cowling. I'm quite pleased with it. This thing's gonna be mounted one here and one here. I'm ready to go, man.
He's built a turntable so he can lathe the foam cowlings into a ducted fan shape with maximum precision.
So it actually seems to work okay. It leads me to understand that there's a lot of work to do to finish this.
Several hours later, Adam's feeling down. You know, blue.
This is awful. The hard part about doing two is that once you finish one, you're only halfway there.
Each cowling takes Adam 8 hours of solid sanding and shaping. The clock is ticking, but on balance, he's pleased.
All told, any average Joe could do this in their shop for about, like, you know, $75 worth of material. And that's kind of the myth we're testing here. You know, can your average Joe do this?
Jamie's been making good progress on his backpack extension. He's lowered the engine and fitted the elongated drive shaft.
Perfect.
Right on cue, the Jetpack's drive system arrives.
What we have here are the pulleys that will be mounted onto each propeller. This would be a drive belt, and each propeller has one of these that goes from its hub to the central hub on the engine, and this would be the central hub.
While Jamie installs the power transmission,
Early go-go dancing training.
Adam is psyching himself up for the next stage of cowling construction, vacuum bagging.
I'm actually a bit nervous.
It's an aeronautical fiberglassing technique designed to provide maximum strength with minimum weight. First, a layer of Kevlar. It's the material used in bulletproof vests.
It won't add much weight, but it'll add a lot of strength in case of a catastrophic failure.
He covers the entire foam cowling with strips of carbon fiber, which he coats in resin.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I'm very pleased.
Then a layer of peel ply.
My back is killing me, though. It's like a real workout noise. Moving around, bending over, turning around, doing this.
Finally, absorbent cloth to soak up the excess resin.
God, I hope this works.
The bag is placed around the cowling, and Adam connects the vacuum pump. The pressure squeezes the resin into any air pockets, providing pound for pound the strongest possible finish. And finally, the pièce de résistance, an impromptu oven in the form of an electric blanket.
And that's how you do it.
Adam leaves the cowling to bake overnight and heads back to the backpack where Jamie's ready for a balance test.
I think we're ready to see how it hangs.
All right.
Can these be cinched up tighter? I need them like...
I'm uncomfortable with all this contact with your groin. Contact.
Lowering the engine seems to have paid off.
It actually kind of came out like I'd hoped. The engine is balancing off the body weight in the front, the way that it's all kind of configured, which is honestly not too far different than what the original plans were.
All right, so you guys ready for a break? Let's go.
All right. Catch you later, Jim.
Bye, Jimmy. See you around.
Adam splits to unwrap his cowlings, and he seems, well, pleased.
Oh, that outside edge looks pretty good. Oh, I'm really pleased about this. You know what, Jamie?
What?
I'm kind of pleased.
Yep, he's pleased.
I am psyched.
A final layer of epoxy gives a pleasing finish.
I'm pretty bloody pleased with how smooth it is. I slept in them last night, so I might look a little pleased.
There's just 10 days left, but when the first cowling goes on, so does the light at the end of the tunnel.
Hold on, I want to stand back and look at this. God damn.
Honey, I'm home.
Just in time for some important visitors. Inspectors from the Federal Aviation Authority, the FAA.
Thanks for coming down, guys.
They're here on official duty to classify the Jetpack. Unofficially, they're just plain curious.
So what do you guys think? How airworthy does it look to you?
It's like no aircraft I've ever seen.
Would you guys fly?
Absolutely not.
You know, although we haven't been able to get them on the phone, do you have a message for the guys who sell these plans?
I'm just concerned for your safety. Really, if you were going to actually fly this around, just because it's so unproven.
That's the bad news. The good news is that the Jetpack gets an ultralight classification, which means a green light for an unregulated test flight.
The verdict was great. This loophole occurs where if it's under a certain weight, you can strap whatever you want to your back and fly it as long as you fly it out of their airspace that they care about, and as long as you don't hurt any other people.
The final week of construction is a mad rush to finish on time.
What a racket!
The cowlings are secured in place, and directional vanes are attached. Jamie makes another change to the plans by adding reinforcement struts to support the ducted fans. Finally, he installs the armrests, joysticks, and throttle control. As the clock runs down, the stress levels go up.
This is the expression I'm going to keep on making during this. Like that.
Exactly 4 weeks after they started the build, they roll out the Jetpack to the test site at the front of the shop.
Damn, this is a sexy machine.
It's been a month of moving mountains. Have the MythBusters pulled off a miracle of amateur aeronautics? Or is this Jetpack a dead duck?
You know, we've been working on so many parts of this for a combined total of 4 weeks now. It's the longest build we've ever done on MythBusters. And I'm really, really psyched to see it go. I'm a little scared, but mostly I'm completely psyched. I mean, even if this thing's a miserable failure, I'm tickled pink.
The build team are testing whether pyramids have mystical powers. Can they really keep fruit fresh and razors sharp? While they wait for things to rot or not, Tori's off to the barber's.
Oh, this is not cool.
Do you think it's me or the razor?
I don't know.
Okay, I think we're done on that side.
Pyramid side done, but the torture continues with the control. So, was there a difference?
The left side definitely felt duller
Really?
than the right side. I'm just glad this whole experience is over.
The left side was duller? Well, maybe there is something to pyramid power after all. Let's check up on the rest.
Something about rotting milk and rotting apple that just grosses me out.
The milk's turning to cheese, but that's not all that's happening.
The apple in this one is actually rotting at a slower rate than that one.
I know.
Feel the power, man. I don't know. I'm so bummed. This Oogie Boogie stuff is actually working.
Like it or not, the apples are rotting at different rates. Is this pyramid power at work, or has the apple experiment gone pear-shaped? Time to consult an Egyptologist.
What do you know about the power of the pyramid?
Well, the myth is that the shape itself was part of the process of preserving the body of the king. And by extension, I suppose there are people who think that it preserves just about anything placed inside of it. As far as I know, in ancient Egyptian thinking, there's no evidence that they thought about that at all.
Could the mummy's curse spell the end for pyramid power? Dr. Manning reckons that it's mummification that preserved the bodies of Egyptian kings, not the shape at all. So how's the apple getting on?
Well, it's been 15 days.
This one is definitely rotting at a slower rate than this one.
The pyramid apple defies logic. It's kept its color, its shape, and it's mold-free.
Flowers seem to be doing the same thing. They're both dried out. There's no real difference. I don't see any difference.
And how about the milk?
Oh my God! There's like little critters. There's little critters crawling around in there. Yeah.
Is there any in those?
Yeah, they're little maggots.
Milk maggots are Mother Nature's use-by date, but razor blades can be tested with technology.
We've brought our razor blades here to the California Academy of Sciences to see if we can put them under the electron microscope, see if the pyramid has had any effect on them. Hi, Scott.
Hi.
Carrie, I'm with the MythBusters.
Glad to meet you.
Scott's a guru of the electron microscope. First, the control razor at 2,500 times magnification.
It's just hard to believe that this little forest right here is the edge of a razor blade.
The roughness means the razor's edge is blunt. So what about the pyramid razor?
They look pretty much identical to me.
Side by side, photos show how similar they are. At 3 magnifications, they're almost identical. And they're both different from a brand new blade. So pyramid power sharpening seems pretty ineffectual. Would Tori agree?
All right, so this is day 16, the last day of our experiment.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
First up, the control razor.
Ow, it's not very sharp at all.
It's actually kind of hard to watch.
It's as blunt as a bowl of pudding.
You want to go for the pyramid?
Yeah, hopefully that will be sharp.
I hope for your sake pyramid power works.
Why? I thought you enjoyed seeing me in pain.
Of course not. How's that feel?
This is like no better than the other one. It's just as dull. It's like pulling hairs out of my face. It sucks. This thing is not sharp at all. I need a real razor.
Tori exits for medical help.
Oh man, I'm sure glad that this myth is over.
Dude, are you all right?
Well, does it look like I'm all right? I would have to say that this part of the myth is totally busted.
I think your face is busted.
But his mojo's still working.
Baby, give us a kiss. You don't find me hot like this?
You look like hell.
The MythBusters' quest to build a flying jetpack has taken them to Davis, California, home of the Muller Sky Car.
Oh man, I have to have one of these. Look, they can fit my kids in here too.
Dr. Paul Muller has spent half a century and $200 million trying to develop a flying car. According to Muller, this is the future.
Is this something that I'd be able to purchase eventually and, like, you know, fly it in San Francisco to my job?
Well, I believe, as Dr. Daniel Golden, the ex-head of NASA, that this vehicle will be in the hands of 25% of the population within 10 years. And he said, he went on further and he said be within 90% of the population within 25 years.
If he's right, it won't be long before we're flying to work, like George Jetson. For decades, inventors have been promising air vehicles, but the hard fact is they're still science fiction.
What do you think? Is this all a hoax or what?
No, I think this is cool. We need these things. Unless we want to pave the whole planet, you know, and put roads everywhere, it's like the highways are getting too full. Yeah. What else are you going to do?
Build your own jetpack, of course. In just 1 month, Adam and Jamie have built their own from plans purchased on the internet. Now, the moment of truth has arrived.
I'd give this device about a 25% chance of actually working reasonably well. The other 75% chance, I would say, is catastrophic failure. And there is a 100% chance that I am not going to be flying around untethered on this thing.
The jetpack remains potentially deadly, so Buster steps up to the plate. Meanwhile, Adam's having an attack of the clear light of days.
I don't know what illusions Jamie might be under. I've been pretty clear all along that this thing has a very, very tiny chance of actually functioning. I give it 10% that it actually is. 10% I'm being really generous. Let's say 2% that it's a viable flying machine.
So the clever money's on gravity. With catastrophic failure always an option on MythBusters, the guys take the usual precautions.
Now it's time to see if Buster can actually rise up in this thing. This is the first official flying test of the Widowmaker. All right, starting up when you're ready, Jimmy.
Okay, go ahead.
Buster's wife should be checking his life insurance right about now.
Just going to spin up probably to about 4,500 RPM, and Jamie's just checking the system out, seeing if anything's abnormally hot.
Everything looks cool, so Jamie opens the throttle. It's all systems go. Countdown begins. The Widowmaker dances on the launch pad. A tantalizing sign of lift, but takeoff is aborted. Jamie thinks the fuel mixture may be too rich.
I'm getting, my eyes are really stinging, and we weren't reaching full RPM. I think there's a throttle, high-speed throttle needle on it. Okay. Adjustment.
The engine is not reaching its power band, so they do some fine-tuning, adjust the throttle cable, and prime the carburetors. for another shot at immortality. The power of ancient Egypt. The build team have been trying to harness the mystical force of the pyramids and have unearthed a bit of a surprise.
All right, guys, you've been testing for a couple of weeks now. I want to ask you about how some of these tests did. The milk.
Busted.
Let's see, the razor blade.
That was busted.
And the flour.
Busted. You
Okay.
couldn't tell any difference.
The apple.
Well, there was a little difference.
Really?
It seemed that the one inside the pyramid rotted at a much slower rate.
There's no getting away from it. The pyramid apple isn't exactly crisp and juicy, but it's not as shriveled as the control. But there may be a non-mystical explanation. Tori forgot to sterilize the blade of the chop saw when he split the apple, and may have given the two halves different microbial loads. So there's got to be one last test, this time with whole apples to avoid contamination. They're polished with bleach, then put under a UV light, a WMD for microbes. And in a fit of geometrical enthusiasm, they decide to test cube power too.
If there's anything to pyramid power, this should be the setup. We'll find out.
With everything pointing north, the apples are left to sit for 4 months. Time to put this pyramid puzzle to bed.
Okay, that's pyramid. This is the control. That's nothing. And this is cube. Well, it's obvious that cube power is really bad for you.
But what about the other two?
I'm just gonna take some representative samples. Pyramid, regular. I'm looking at the one in the pyramid, I'm looking at the one out in open air, and I don't see any appreciable difference.
I'd agree.
So I think that's myth busted.
Can we call this myth busted, please? And can we not do any more of these Oogie Boogie myths?
Back at the launch pad, Adam and Jamie have retuned the Jetpack's engine. And it's time for a second bite at the Levitation cherry.
Here goes.
I want liftoff this time.
Round 2. This time, the engine hits the butter zone. Jamie's whiskers are twitching. The tachometer reaches 5,600 RPM. Gravity's got a fight on its hands. The jetpack leaves the ground. It's almost flying. But gravity wins out. Close, but no cigar.
It's getting to the borderline.
Right there, yeah, no, I can tell, it's right there. We've got 5,600 RPM on that last one. We are at the power band, we are at the maximum output of this engine. We have too much weight. As far as the overall design, everything is functioning as it should, except the entire machine. The engine is performing beautifully. It's all functioning. It's just, at this point, we're just too heavy.
According to Jamie, weight is not the main issue. It's thrust.
We were given to understand we would get 500 pounds of thrust. This thing does not weigh 500 pounds. Why is it not getting off the ground? There's some kind of a thing with, the only place that I can point to is something to do with the efficiency of the ducts.
They attempt to maximize thrust by adding a layer of balsa between the propeller tips and the cowlings. The smaller the gap, the larger the thrust.
Oh, did you see that? Was that sexy or what?
A thread test confirms that the airflow into the ducts is smooth and uniform. So they should be getting the correct thrust and lift.
Perfect!
But even with the modifications, the guys decide to lower the bar.
Keep your comments to yourself.
And remove Buster from the hot seat.
Okay.
Take that!
It's a retreat, but Jamie's philosophical.
This is an ambitious project after all, you know. This is something that I keep saying, like, Somebody out there is spending tens of millions of dollars and decades of work developing a device like this.
With Buster out of the picture, the Jetpack is 190 pounds lighter. It's now or never.
All right, are you ready?
I think we're ready. Okay, go ahead.
Test number 3.
Chalks away, but will it be liftoff? It's trying, but it ain't flying. The game's finally up.
It's not even providing all that much lift on its own. If it was correctly balanced, it would be flying on it without anything on it, but not with a whole lot of access.
In other words, without a pilot. Even so, Jamie can't resist having a go in the Widowmaker. Mrs. Heineman, you should look away now.
I have a sneaking feeling this is going to not exactly tickle in a certain unmentionable region, but it's going to be vibrating like crazy down there. What the hell are you writing out there?
Pilot to Bombardier, do you read? Over. Are you good?
Yeah.
Looks like Jamie's going to be driving to work for a while yet.
How did that feel, man?
Well, the main thing that it feels like is that I'm in some kind of a mixer or something. I mean, it's like your whole body is just like at a really high frequency vibration here. It's just that alone is enough to make me not want to fly around in this. I mean, it really is ridiculous.
Seeing Jamie in the machine is just amazing. He really does, with the mustache, end up looking like one of those turn-of-the-century guys in the huge flying machine that goes off the ramp and off the cliff.
And unfortunately, he's met with about as much success as those magnificent men in their flying machines.
We're both exhausted of this project. I believe, I'm personally exhausted of this project.
We've done all due diligence on making this thing work based on the information we've had, but it's nowhere in the ballpark. And I don't get it. I'm mystified.
So how did we do?
Well, we didn't get off the ground, so I guess we failed, as much as I hate to admit it.
But we succeeded, I think, in busting a myth.
Yeah, there's no way that the average Joe could take those plans and get off the ground with them. They were incredibly sparse. There wasn't enough data. There weren't enough details.
They were drawn on cocktail napkins.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
What do you think? Do you think at some point in the future we will be flying personal jetpacks to work?
I don't think so. There's one really important thing to keep in mind about this type of device, and that is that you have no backup. If you have a failure, you're going down like a stone. You're going to die. And for that reason, I don't think that you're going to be riding around in a personal jetpack anytime in the near future at all.
So, myth totally busted.
Yeah, totally busted.